Can a country withdraw from the United Nations? Have you ever wondered if a country can simply walk away from the United Nations? This question is more complex than it might seem at first glance. The United Nations Charter, which serves as the foundational treaty of the United Nations, does not include any clear provision for a member country to withdraw voluntarily. Unlike many international treaties that outline specific withdrawal procedures, the United Nations Charter remains silent on this issue. There is an article within the Charter, Article 6, which allows for the expulsion of a member state, but only if that state has persistently violated the principles of the Charter. Interestingly, no country has ever been expelled under this article. So, what does this mean for a country looking to leave the United Nations? The absence of a formal withdrawal clause creates a legal gray area. Some scholars of international law argue that, since sovereign states generally have the right to withdraw from treaties, this right should also apply to the United Nations Charter. However, others believe that the unique role of the United Nations as an international institution complicates the idea of a unilateral withdrawal. In practice, if a country were to attempt to leave the United Nations, it would likely be treated more as a political matter than a strictly legal one. For instance, Indonesia in the 1960s chose to stop participating in United Nations activities and informed the organization of its intent to suspend cooperation. However, its membership status remained unclear, and Indonesia later resumed full cooperation without needing to reapply for membership. This case shows that the United Nations may handle withdrawal attempts with some flexibility, but without officially recognizing a right to withdraw. There is also a principle in customary international law called Rebus Stantibus. This principle suggests that a state may withdraw from a treaty if there is a fundamental and unforeseen change in circumstances that undermines the treaty's purpose. However, this principle is narrowly interpreted and would requiring a very significant change to justify leaving the United Nations. The Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties codifies this principle, but it does not directly apply to the United Nations Charter. Still, its norms influence how international law is viewed. From the perspective of liberalism in international relations, the United Nations is seen as a vital institution for promoting cooperation, peace, and collective problem-solving among sovereign states. Liberalism highlights the importance of international organizations in managing interdependence and advocating for shared values like human rights and democracy. Therefore, the idea of a country withdrawing from the United Nations goes against liberal ideals that emphasize engagement, multilateralism, and a rule-based international order. Supporters of liberalism would argue that remaining within the United Nations framework, even when disagreements arise, is essential for addressing global challenges and maintaining international stability. In summary, while there is no explicit legal mechanism for a country to withdraw from the United Nations, political and customary international law considerations suggest it might be possible under exceptional circumstances. However, such an action would be unprecedented and politically complex. From a liberal viewpoint, staying engaged in the United Nations aligns with the principles of cooperation, peace, and international governance that are central to liberal international relations theory.